Hello everyone, this is Vinay here from Learn Coding with Vinay again, and this is the sixth part of the video series Careers in IT. So we have discussed so many profiles uh, before this video. So please go out and check my previous videos. In the previous video, we discussed about application support and maintenance and DBA. In this video, we are going to discuss three more profiles, which is UX UI developer, business intelligence developer, and hardware network engineer. So let's move ahead. First one is UX UI developer. Now, what a UX UI developer does basically. So basically, primary role of a UX UI developer is to convert the business idea into wireframes or mockups or prototype. Now, what are wireframe, mockups, and prototype? Let me take you to the example. If I go over here, so this is an example of a website, and these are the prototypes of websites. So based on the discussion with business team or product manager, UX UI developer will design the website. This is not an actual design, these are just mock-ups. So basically these are only as a images only, right? So this is how the home page will look like, they'll design. This is how the other page will look like. This is how a form, if there is an entry form, then this is how a form would look like, right? This is an example of website mockups. Let me take you to the another example where there is a design of a mobile application development. Right. So this is a mobile application UX UI example where various screens are designed by the UX UI developer. Login page, let's say profile page, another listing page, right? Let me take you one more example, which is which will make more sense. So this is an e-commerce example, e-commerce website example, maybe mobile application or responsive website, whatever it is, right? On the first page there will be product listing. This is a then there is a search page that says we can search by a product name or various categories, and this is how our cart page will look like, and this is how my profile will look like, right? So UX UI developer will develop these wireframes based on the discussion with either business team or product manager, right? Let me come back to the PPT. Now, what are the day-to-day tasks of a UX UI developer? So, as I said, the day-to-day task will involve designing wireframes or prototypes of web or mobile application. Right. So, based on the discussion, they'll design this web or mobile. And these are not your web forms or not your actual mobile application code. Consider these are just images only, right? Because the UX UI role generally comes at the beginning of any product or website or any mobile application design. So basically, whenever there is a brainstorming going on, that okay, let's say one organization decides that we are going to launch this website or we are going to launch this mobile application. So there will be series of meetings going on, and they will discuss the ideas. They will discuss what will be there on our website, what will be there on our mobile application, which services we will make it available to the users, right? And based on that, UX UI developer will continuously design the prototypes. And during the consecutive meetings, these prototypes will evolve on a day-to-day basis, right? Because again, business clients or product manager will have some idea, and they'll suggest some changes. So these things will go on until the final product or final design is uh, done, or maybe concrete design is done, or not the final, I would say, but to a level where a developer can start their actually website or mobile application, right? And next is ensure that designs are well responsive and they work in all devices, right? So in today's world, we are using multiple devices. They have different resolutions, right? Like pairs, laptops, desktop, mobiles, right? Smart device like smartwatch. So whatever we are designing, that has to fit in all device screen size. Right. Next is to design mockups based on user experience preference in and determining how user will interact with the interface. Now, what is this? Now, consider an example, that most of us are right-handed, right? So when we hold our device, mobile phone, in the right hand, our natural position of thumb will be, towards the left side of our mobile. So most of the user will prefer back button on the left side of your mobile application, because in while using mobile, back button is the, I think, is the key that is used the most, right? So this certain things will come, come into the picture after people start using it, right? This is just an one example. And next is create logos, icons, and company products and services. Now let me take you to the one more example over here, how what users will be doing over here. So let me go to the msn.com. So here is an example of setting icon. This is icon. Here is an example of menu icon or burger icon. If we click on it, small menu opens up, and these are the example of logos. So these everything will be designed by a UX UI developer, right? So coming back to the PPT again. Now the next is collaborate with developers to ensure that the design is technically feasible and implemented correctly. Right. Now while designing, usually UX UI developer will have free hand. They can design anything, right? Because they are ultimately working on images, right? But that has to be discussed with developers, so that there is a mutual agreement that okay, something is designed and that is achievable by the developer also in any programming languages, right? If something that doesn't work, if something is designed and that doesn't work for developer, then there has to be discussion carry out, that design needs to be changed so that it works well for the developers, right? Because when we talk about coding, there will be certain limitation, not everything can be achieved, right? Now the next is, keep trend with the latest trend, learn whatever tool technology you are using for UX UI developer, which we'll see in next slide, right? Keep up with the new enhancement, new version releases, and use, as I said in previous slides also, use chat gpt, google gemini, or any other uh, AI agent that work perfectly for you, right? So let me move to the next slide. Now this is a pictorial presentation of what a UX UI designer would do on a day-to-day basis. You can pause the video and just take a look at it. It is just what we discussed in the previous slide, right? Moving to next. Now if you want to become a UX UI developer, then what skill you should acquire, what tools and technology or what programming language you should know. Now ideally UX UI developer are not supposed to know any programming language, but they should have basic knowledge of HTML, CSS. JavaScript is optional. Bootstrap, custom CSS like Tailwheel CSS, right? They should understand the basic concept of this. It's okay they don't know, thoroughly. But UX UI developer will be using this tool, Figma, Sketch, Adobe XD, InDesign, Photoshop extensively to create their mockups and prototypes, right? So these are the tools that you one should know. In my opinion, Figma and Sketch are the primary tools that one should use. If you know, as a beginner, if you know one tool, that is good enough. You don't need to learn a whole lot of things, but one tool is good enough. Right, and then slowly you can learn Adobe Photoshop, InDesign, because Adobe InDesign is very popular to create logos. You can create logos in Figma and Sketch also, but just the thing. Now moving to next. So I hope that give you a good idea about UX UI design, about UX UI developer profile. Right. Now next is the BI developer. Now BI is business intelligence developer. It is comprised of two things, ETL and reports. Now what is ETL? ETL is actually extract, transform, and load. And reports we all know, as the name says, right? Now what does a day-to-day task of a BI developer involve? So let's go to the next image actually, and then understand from there. you know so as a BI developer, the task of a BI developer is to sometime collecting data from various sources and put it down to the destination, right? Sometimes it is quite easy, just take it from one place and put it on another place, right? Sometimes there are systems that they don't share the same database, or they don't share the same data modeling, right? So in that case, what will happen? One will have to write a program that picks the data from one source system, does is some sort of transformation, and then put it down in the destination database, right? And from the destination database, there will be various application that will be using it for various purpose like analysis, reporting, data mining, right? So that's what an ETL developer does. What? Get the data from one place and put it down to another place, right? Coming back to the previous slide. Now, cleans and transform data to meet business requirement. Now, as I said, right, there are good chances that the data for one application, you know, in one format are good, but that the same format is not good for the another one, right? So data has to be transformed into the based on the requirement. They need to be transformed into another format, right? So next one is design and develop interactive dashboard. Now this is the report part, right? So once data has moved from one or the another location, right, and there will be application, there will be various dashboard developed. There are good chances that various report will be developed based on it. Now maybe using some visuals like charts and all those things, right? And customize your report based on the requirement and feedback, right? That just like in the coding stuff, based on the user requirement we'll have to do coding. Here you will have to update your ETL and reports, right? Then obviously document the ETL process, mappings and data transformation. Now while documenting ETL what is exactly mean by documenting ETL process? So ideally you should have a document that says, okay, this is my source system, this is my source data models, right? These are my source data model, and from here I am picking the data and putting into, this is my destination system, this is my destination data models, these are my destination data models, right? And if they are different, then you will also have to mapping between the source and destination data models, right? So that's why data mapping is also there. If they uses the same, then there is no need to do any mapping, right? So, because same name will do the things for us. But if the names in source and destinations are different, then we'll have to maintain that mapping, right? So that's what a BI developer will do on a day-to-day basis. Now based on the need, again, source system can be anything. It can be one database, it can be multiple database, and destination can be also anything, one database or multiple database. Sometimes source system can be flat files and Excel files also, right? And the destination can be a database, and the vice versa also. Source system can also be a database or any other system, and the destination would be either a flat file or an Excel file, right? And based on that data, there are certain report, dashboard, or nice visuals are created that will be used by either business users or stakeholders to do to do some analysis, or to predict something for the future, right? So that's where the BI developer role lies. Now if you want to become a BI developer, then what programming language you should know? Ideally, as a BI developer, you don't need to learn any programming language except SQL. You should know SQL, right? Because since you are dealing with data, you should know SQL. And if you are using Power BI, then you should know DAX queries, right? Otherwise, no programming knowledge is required for this profile, as far as I know. Because I have worked extensively with SSIS and SSRS. SSIS is ETL tool, SSRS is reporting tool, SQL Server Integration Services, and SQL Server Reporting Services. I have also worked with Crystal Reports, right? But SSIS and SSRS now kind of new development are not happening in them, right? So SSIS has been replaced by Azure Data Factory. So I would not suggest to learn SSIS and SSRS now. But the other, Power BI, Tableau, Crystal Report, Informatica, Talent, Azure Data Factory, Snowflakes, Excel is quite naturally false that one should know Excel. Right, so you can go for other tool. Again, you don't need to learn everything over listed over here. You can either learn one thing, Power BI and Azure Data Factory, if we talk about Microsoft technology. If we talk about something else, Informatica, then you don't need to learn a Power BI. Informatica is good enough for ETL, right? Then maybe Tableau. Now this is based on totally company's requirement and how they are using their licensings of these tools. And that depends on that. So whatever is there, you will have to use. Uh, and try to remember these symbols over here. That will be handful when you, if you opt to become a BI developer, right? Okay, so I hope that gave you a good insight of what a BI developer do on a day-to-day basis, right? Now next is hardware and network engineering. Now what does a hardware and network engineering guy do on a day-to-day basis, right? So they maintain user desktop laptops in the organization, apply securities, OS patches, essential software updates, right? Change machine hardware, based on requirement, right? So I remember in one of my project, we were working on a image processing project, and there was a mandate that every machine should have minimum of 12 to 16 GB RAM. So usually our machine all machine were of 8 GB RAM. So while working on that project, we all, I think we were around 15 or 20 people. All 20 machines has were upgraded with 12 or 16 GB RAMs, right? So this task falls under a hardware and network guy. Then obviously maintain each employee's laptop or desktop network equipment like Wi-Fi, routers, right? Then solve user issue. There will be a common problem where one or the other user is not able to connect into the network. One or the other user password is not working, right? So these are the things hardware and network guy will have to take care of within the organization. And the next is, assist in setting up the configuring routers, switches, and wireless access point, right? There will be meeting rooms where there will be projectors, right? So hardware network team will have to make sure that they are up and running every time, because meetings are very critical in any industry, right? So projectors or maybe large screen placed into the meeting room should work at any moment of time. If not working, there has to be solution around it on a no time basis, right? Another is, to implement firewall, prevent attacks on your network, right? Create VPNs based on the requirement, virtual private network, because sometimes what happens, a project may require someone to work from remote location, not from the office, right? Not from the offices, on the from the remote location as well. So in that case, there has to be a VPN that outgoing, going out of the office person or employee can use it, right? So those are the tasks that hardware and network engineer are involved in. Then assist in regular backup and network configuration and settings, right? So let's say if something goes out, something happen, maybe due to power failure or anything else, network configuration are messed up, and the entire organization facing a problem in connectivity, right? So doing everything from the beginning will make no sense, right? Rather than that, store network configuration in somewhere where they can be restored immediately, right? So these also falls into the purview of a hardware network engineer, right? So let me move to the next slide. Again, whatever we discuss, it has the pictorial presentation of it, image of network, image of a person who is handling machines, laptops, routers, Wi-Fi devices, right? And on the right side and at the top of the side, consider that this is an entire network of an organization. So to maintain that entire network, machines, server, laptops, everything that falls under the hardware and network engineers profile, right? Now, as a hardware and network profile, what tools and technology one should be aware of, right? So the skill, you don't need to know any programming languages, but as a part of skill, you should know DOS and Linux commands, right? Because that will be something that you will be dealing with on a day-to-day basis, right? Then the next would be ticketing tools, Jira, ServiceNow, Trello, or any other remedy that user, because user will, whatever problem users are facing, they'll put down in one of these applications, right? And hardware and network engineer will have to pick up that issue from there, provide resolution, mark that ticket as closed, right? So knowledge of this tool, basically these are websites or maybe SaaS solutions that one should know how to use it, right? Okay. So I hope you enjoy this video. We cover pretty much about all these three profiles, and in the see you in the next video. Thanks a lot, guys.